Hey guys, the internet is full of lies. It's got AI images on Facebook absolutely wreaking havoc. It's got those Wikipedia edits whenever a sports team loses to their rival. And it also has anything said by somebody who pays for Twitter. Usually when I see something that's just blatantly not true, I start typing out a comment and then I realize nobody cares, so I delete my comment and move on with my day. Except this time, where I spent multiple hours writing, filming, and editing a video. But this time it's different, because it's not just one or two videos, it's hundreds of videos that have been seen by millions of people, and these are the stupidest lies I've ever seen, and everyone is falling for it. I don't understand how. I first discovered this when I saw a video talking about a Texas woman who had her phone stolen during the Olympics in Paris. As someone who lived in Paris for a year and thus hates Paris, I empathized with this poor woman. For about 10 seconds, and then I realized it was fake. In this video, he claims a woman was on her way with her husband to watch their daughter compete in the Olympics when her phone was stolen. Gosh, what an unfortunate event indeed. But there's a twist.
A woman turned to her husband and said, "The tickets are on my phone. Now we won't be able to get in." And he was like, "No, calm down. I have a phone still. You can log into your account on my phone and we'll still get in." But when they got to the venue, they tried to use the tickets and the tickets had already been used by the people who pickpocketed them.
Yeah, so already at this point, it's obvious that this just didn't happen. How did they even know you had tickets? How did they get into the phone to access those tickets? You think a criminal who steals phones for a living saw a Ticketmaster notification and decided to treat themselves to a fun day out? Sure, let's go with that. I like that in this story that he clearly made up, he still has to include that the woman is overreacting. Your phone got stolen? Calm down, woman. I still have my phone. He then says that the Texas couple, quote, "don't play like that," and that they bought 2 tickets off of a scalper and then went into the venue just to find the pickpocketers in their original seats.
So the dad very quietly approaches the people who are sitting directly behind the pickpocketers and he said, "Hey, step this way." And then they go back to the concession stand and he says, "Listen, I'm going to give you $1,000 cash and then you're going to let me and my wife have the 2 seats you're in right now."
Howdy, come with me. No. Just do it. No.
So now the dad's sitting right behind the pickpocketers and he's just waiting for them to pull out the phone. And right when they do, he reaches around and snatches it out of their hands. They turn around and see a 6'6" guy from Texas and they understand that they're little artsy weasels from France and they're not going to compete with that on a physical level.
Wow, just chef's kiss. Aside from the part where the pickpocketer somehow knows that there's tickets on the phone and then is somehow able to get into that phone to access the tickets, and the part where the man buys seats out from literally under somebody using the wrong currency, and the part where he panders to a low IQ audience using every stereotype he could think of, it's still a pretty bad story. Thankfully, it's such a bad story, there's absolutely no way anybody would actually think that this story is real. Don't mess with Texas. America won gold that day. They truly did the F around and found out. As an American, I try to defend Americans, but I get it. Apparently, that same 6'6" Texas man had a pretty eventful time at the Olympics because he got pickpocketed again. But this time, he threw the pickpocketer down the stairs.
This would-be thief attempted to pickpocket a 6'6" Texas man who had already had stuff stolen from him earlier at the Olympics. So when he grabbed this man's arm, he threw him down the stairs like a javelin. The pickpocketer is now filing assault charges because he broke several bones, but the Texas man told police that he wouldn't have broke that many bones if the man wasn't soft like Charmin. The police said you didn't have to throw him that far, but the Texas man said in the spirit of the Olympics, he wanted to throw him as far as he possibly could. The Texas man was arrested, but he was able to post bail and he immediately fled to a nearby airport and got on the first plane back home to America.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. We know you can't just leave a country when you're out on bail, right? Like, you have to go through border control at the airport where they'd stop you immediately. And if somehow you got through that, you also have to go through border control in America where you'd also be stopped immediately and then sent back to France. Just so we're clear on that. And the comments on this video may actually be worse than the other one. They're giving less of a "I've been to the airport before" vibe and more of a why metal tube fly if heavy vibe. OMG, I can't stop laughing. So the police was on pickpocket's side? LOL. The audacity of the pickpocketer to sue him. The audacity of you to think that story was real. But how did 43,000 people agree with you? How did that happen? I got a little hopeful when I saw this comment asking if it was the same 6'6" Texas man. Nobody's falling for it. It's just one big bit and everybody's playing along. Nah, they believe it. In the replies to this comment, this guy claims the story was all over the news. But when somebody asks for a link and then points out that the creator's bio says fictional stories, he ignores all logic because, well, he's not gonna look it up for him. Do your own research, pal. YouTube Texas man deals with pickpocket on the Olympics, buddy. It's crazy because there's such little logic checking when they hear a story for the first time. This is a story from a guy they don't know, who's providing zero evidence and half the time is sitting in his car. But when confronted with any rationality or, God forbid, evidence, these guys are rolling nat 20 persuasion checks to convince themselves this is real. Before I move on, I want to give an honorable mention to this comment saying Paris/France is losing so much aura via the Olympics, because while he is correct, he is also a 40-plus-year-old man saying aura unironically, and that's kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the creator of these videos is The Robbie Show, and as pointed out by a previous comment, his bio literally says fictional stories and satire. So he's not really trying to hide it. And even if you couldn't see his bio, anyone with a few working brain cells probably would catch on pretty quick. I went back and forth on if I even wanted to talk about this guy because he's not really hurting anyone. He's not lying to push an agenda or to sell a product. He's just telling bad stories to dumb people. It's basically TikTok's version of a Hallmark movie. I actually wasn't even going to make this video until a few weeks later, I saw a video by a woman talking about the American in Paris who is electrocuting pickpocketers with decoy wallets.
Find out that Americans who are visiting Paris for the Olympics, these Europeans have been trying to pickpocket these Americans who are just trying to enjoy a good old American Olympics. These Americans have wallets that shock them. Electric shocking wallets. You cannot make this up.
You cannot make this up.
Obviously, that didn't fucking happen. I think you understand how absurd these Robbie Show stories are by now, so I'll give you the quick version. In this story, an American man, because it's always an American man dishing out vigilante justice in these, was electrocuting pickpocketers by using battery-powered decoy wallets rigged to shock them. The police then stopped this man and confiscated 30 fucking wallets and then just told him to stop. Now, why do you think they told him to stop? Was it A, because he was trying to electrocute people? B, because having 30 battery packs on you in public kind of makes it look like you have a bomb? Or C, the shocks were causing irregular heartbeats for the pickpocketers and that was putting a burden on France's healthcare system when they went to the hospital? Yeah, you're right, it's C. First off, for some reason he mentions that France has universal healthcare, as if that affects any part of this story. More importantly though, 30 people? We think 30 people is all it takes to burden a hospital? I don't know, maybe 30 people walking into one hospital at once could cause a problem. But Paris has 39 hospitals. Literally, all of these guys could go get a second opinion and it wouldn't even put a dent in the system. Now, the original video by The Robbie Show got just over 1.5 million views. But the video with the girl talking about the story got over 6.5 million views. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because this girl is talking about it like it's real. And her account's not satire. She's just dumb. The problem here is, she doesn't link to the original video or mention the original video at all, so you can't see that it was posted by a satire account. And she changes half of the story. In the original video, it's one guy who has 30 shock wallets on him. But in her video, it's now a trend. It's multiple people who are carrying these shock wallets. And yeah, that sounds more plausible, but it's still just not true. I don't know. Does any of this matter? Probably not. I just feel like I'd prefer if we could stop lying about random bullshit for internet clout, so I don't have to feel so skeptical about everything I hear. I'm so on guard for this fake information that when something good happens, I don't even get to enjoy that story because I'm so focused on trying to find the cracks in it. To be clear, there's no hate for the Robbie Show for making these videos. He makes it really obvious that they're not true, and he's not really hurting anyone. And if we're gonna get mad at people for pumping out shitty fake stories about Americans in Paris, then we should probably get mad at the right person. I'm looking at you, Netflix. Emily in Paris is trash. I'm sorry, but it's a biased propaganda piece, and I won't stand for somebody trying to make Paris seem like a fun, cool place to live. It rains every day there, and people let their dogs poop on the sidewalk, and they don't pick it up. And then I step in it when I'm 50 minutes from home, out for my girlfriend's birthday. Okay? It's a real story, really happened to me. I'm still kind of mad. No one in Ratatouille steps in a pile of dog shit. No one told me about that before I moved there. And Netflix, you should be ashamed you let this lie go on for 4 seasons. Now, while I've been making this video, I kept wondering, what if I tried this? Sure, I could make a far better or a far more absurd story, but that's not the challenge. Could I come up with the perfect story that gullible people are just gonna eat up while making rational people feel like they're going insane? Now I know some of you are thinking, Jamie, didn't you just make this whole video complaining about people doing exactly that and wishing that it wasn't a thing? And to that I'd say, yes, I did say all of that. But we already opened Pandora's box. The least we can do is get some content out of it. Alright, gang. It's been a few days since I filmed the last part, so I figured I would update you on how my attempt to go viral has gone. So the results somewhat varied. I kind of assumed I would become the most viral video in the history of TikTok, and then everyone would be begging me to give up YouTube and do TikTok full time, but that didn't happen. And the haters, if you ask the haters said that I would get no views and nobody would even like it. But kind of met in the middle. So the first video I posted got just under 700 views, and it was me telling a story about a kidnapper who got beaten up by 2 Brooklyn men after he was threatening a woman. The kidnapper was in love with a young woman and wanted to marry her, but she did not feel the same way. This girl had recently met these 2 Brooklyn men, but the kidnapper did not know that and felt threatened by them. When the man learned about the wedding, he decided he had to crash it to try and find his brother, who was still missing. Once he was able to free his brother, they stopped the wedding and beat the pulp out of the kidnapper, who was eventually arrested and thrown in jail. Now, you might think that story sounds familiar, like you've heard it before, and that's because you have. Yeah, that's just the plot of the Mario movie. And while no one knew it was the Mario movie, a lot of my real life friends did reach out and ask if I was doing alright. So, that's gotta be worth something. I got a bit confident after nobody picked up on it being the Mario movie, and so I did another movie ripoff, but this time it was Zootopia. A woman had started working at a police department, but she was constantly stuck on parking duty because the men of the department felt she was too small to be a real officer. I guess I flew a little bit too close to the sun because people did catch on, and this video did way worse. I figured the movie bit was kinda up at this point and it wasn't really working, so I tried to make it a bit more like the Robbie Show. And this one also didn't do well. A Florida man is suing his former employer after he was fired for bringing an alligator to work. I don't know, it was probably too obvious. I threw a lot of engagement bait in there because it was an emotional support alligator, which is classified as a service animal. But in the meantime, the man has set up a GoFundMe, which has raised over $36,000. The man currently is still unemployed as he looks for a new job, but he says he is on the hunt and he's looking for a new nursing home to work at. And nobody took it. No one commented. It got 30 likes. The final video I posted, I actually posted a few hours ago, and it's doing better than all the others, but it's still doing bad. This video was about a 6'7" Texas man who basically drove over some rude kid's car. And while it has less likes than some of the others, I've got these guys in the comments on the hook. It sounds kind of fake. That's because it is. I was going to do it for a full week, but then I made 4 of these videos and I stopped caring. Really, I've just been down in the dumps since my movie bit didn't work. So as much as I'd like to say that the Robbie Show makes bad stories, I also have to say the Robbie Show makes better bad stories than me. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new around here, check out some of the other stuff on the channel and consider subscribing if you like it. It's been a little while since I posted my last video, but that was just because I was lost at sea. So, back on land now, don't worry. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you too. Thanks, bye.